There we go. Okay, you're good.
All right, yay. All right, so we have in attendance, we have Jan, Eileen, Dan, Don, and DA. And we'll assume that Laura and Scott will
Scott's not going to be here tonight.
not be here tonight. Okay. So, with that in mind, let's move forward. We have the approval of the minutes. Everybody get a chance to look the minutes over?
I move approval of the September minutes as written.
We have a move.
I second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Crickets. Moving forward. Public comments. Anybody have something to say publicly?
Jan's under communications. Unless you have something else you want to say.
Yeah, I just want to bring up to date on some things. Jan Salisbury, Friends of the Library, and this is, we are now in our next fiscal year. We have an odd year end, it's October 31, so I just want to bring you up to date to a few things. First of all, we settled our lease, so we're at the bookstore for 5 more years with very little rent increase, so we did that. We're also looking for an IT volunteer, so we're putting the word out because we have a website that needs to be maintained, and possibly working with our Facebook, although other people do that sometimes. So if you have any ideas, that would be great to help us out.
I do have a question.
For just FYI, last year we had almost 50,000 books donated, 49,500 odd number, books and other media, all of those units. And they were filtered through the system and moved on. To create all of the work for that, over 4,022 volunteer hours. There were probably more, but throughout the year. So that's kind of our year. The other item that made us kind of excited when we compared last year to this year, overall last year our profit was $888 for the whole year. And that was, and then this year we figured it was around $15,000. So they've changed systems on how things go, and our donations were, monetary donations were a little up, although we didn't encourage a lot of that because of the foundation and their work, so we're trying not to compete. The other thing is the bookstore, which is our primary fundraiser. Last year, the profit, I don't know the exact number, but it was around $5,000 for the year, looking at the revenue that comes in for the bookstore and the expenses that are dedicated to bookstore activity. This year, our profit is, get the right number here, I'm sorry, over $10,000. So it basically doubled. So those are the exciting things that for the summary for the year. We just wanted to share that with you.
Don had a question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Since you're going into the IT and you have a website, are you going to go into online book sales then?
We would like to do that. We need to find someone that would help us do that. And I know there's someone here that has done that in the past, but
it's a big job.
It is a big job.
But my thought is that I've kind of looked at other places, and they have a percentage of the sales goes back to the person who does it. So if you have like a student, they pay themselves through their sales, and so the more sales they generate, the more money
that's
they
a very
put
good
in their
idea.
pocket, as opposed to just volunteering and
We're so
sucking it-
focused on volunteering
sucking
and
it up,
giving
so
away your life that
you might think
but
about
that's a good
that
idea.
to throw it into the hopper.
Thank you for that
I'm thinking
idea.
there's lots of IT people out at Clackamas Community College who would be very interested in that. So.
Yeah. Okay, I will pass that on
All right.
to powers that work with that. Thank you for your idea.
Good job.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, before you leave, I just think that we need to recognize the Friends.
Oh yeah.
What Jan didn't say is that they also completed their $100,000 gift this year, so $25,000 more dollars to the foundation was given just recently, which is huge. And we've already started talking about programming, their support for programming with the library. even though they've just given that ginormous amount. We talked about that today. So, I mean, they're just givers. They're amazing. And I just know the foundation could not have done the amazing job it did without that $100,000 pledge that it got from the Friends to kick it off. I mean, that was enormous. And so I just can't thank them enough.
Claire, last-
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll pass that on too. Our last check was $26,600 and some odd dollars because we had extra donations that came in, and it was dedicated funds, so we just had to do that. You know, that's what it's for.
Thank
I
you
had to
very
go
much.
there. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Any other public comments? Yes, no, maybe? All right. Let's move on to the director's report.
All right, well, we haven't met for a couple of months, and thank you for your forbearance on that. Kind of like,
You're welcome.
Thank God. There's no way I could have made it here in October. So I did pass along a couple of months' worth of statistics, and with my director's report, and I think that really the thing that jumps out at me is the door count. However, I wanted to qualify those numbers, and I may have done that a little bit in my report. I can't remember. But so the door count for September was over 24,000, and for October, almost 27,000. And last year at the same time, it was just, 14 and a half or whatever. So clearly, it's a lot more people. However, some of those numbers are workmen going in and out the door.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, it is, because we were, we have little, I look at the daily ones just to make sure that the door counter is actually working. And sometimes I change it because it's not, and I kind of extrapolate out an average, But I was looking at October the 10th, and that was the day that we were at all staff training. And so I knew that there was no staff in the building. We were close to the public, and yet we had a door count of 497.
Okay.
And I'm like, what? Ghost? What? And it
Hey,
was.
it's the right neighborhood.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's the right neighborhood.
No kidding.
That's a lot of
But
in and
it's
out
just
by the
workers.
Wow.
So, the numbers through October and are going to, reflect that there's that unusual amount of traffic. But, I mean, honestly, the numbers up until October have also reflected that activity,
Right.
So,
even if you take out the 500 or so,
well, yeah, that
Yeah,
was
it's
one.
still
That
like-
was one day. That
Yeah.
was one day.
yeah.
But still, so I mean, it's just going to be really interesting moving forward, seeing what numbers of just real live patrons are, and what that's going to look like. But having said all that, a year ago, the same time, we were in the Carnegie, we were under construction, but we were open, and we were having construction, but it was mostly in the other building. It wasn't in where we were keeping track of the door counters. So, you know what I mean? So it's going to be different, but it is up quite a bit. And then the one for October is more exciting to me because while there are obviously lots of workman numbers in there, we were closed for a whole week. But then we did have two big parties, so it kind of balances itself. So I'm kind of really eager to just get in kind of to a regular time and see what it looks like.
Well, I know there's at least one person at work that's like, I love the new library. And she's gone back
Yay.
at least 2 or 3 times. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. We are seeing a lot of people who have not been there for a really long time come back because we're doing new cards. Because the cards are, they only last for so long, or as far as being valid, and then you have to update something or whatever. And a lot of people are coming in whose cards are not on the computer at all, which means they haven't been there for a really long time. They're so funny. They'll pull out these really ancient cards. Yeah, I haven't been here for a year or two. And I'm like,
More like
probably
6.
more than that, but whatever. But so new
Still smells like
cards. Where's that
Danielson's.
number? I know
I don't
in
even bother with my card anymore.
August our number of new cards was 384 or
Wow,
something.
that's good.
It was ridiculous. But then, and why am I not seeing that number?
Patron registrations.
Yeah, where is it?
It's down towards the bottom, under cultural
Ah.
passes, so it's
So
344.
September is 344 and October 289. So I mean our usual number was about 150. You know, so that skyrocketed. So what's kind of interesting is that the materials are up, but not by like, well, they're not even really up. I mean, look, they're down. And is that because like, you know, so like we had 2 huge parties and we had lots of workers and they're not checking out books. You know, those people are there, but they're not checking out books. So that's the thing. It's just, these are like all skewed and we all know it's because it's, you know, crazy times, but
Just make sure that's in your notes so that when you look at this a year from
I
now, you
know,
know,
like,
why are our numbers so low
I
compared
don't
to
think
last
I'm
year?
ever going to forget this date, actually. Our attendance at programs is really good. The kids' programs particularly are like very well attended. We've moved all the story times and the art labs and the Lego labs into the community room so that people can just focus on those activities and they're not distracted by the discovery tables and by people, I mean like little kids. All that other stuff that's happening in the children's area. And it's nice because then it just creates that much more space so that if people just want to be playing at the discovery table, they can. And there's not like a story time happening over them. So lots of activity. We're like super pleased with the building, obviously. We're still kind of adjusting, you know, we're still in that kind of transition period of figuring out all the building systems and like we haven't even turned the alarm on yet. I mean, it's locked at night, but we haven't, you know, because like we're just not there. I mean, it's ready for us, but there's just so many things to get in place. So, and people seem very, very, very happy with the building. There's like the parking complaint, I don't think is ever going to go away. And then we are getting some comments on the face-out DVD shelving. Yeah, it's not as easy to find things as people would like. It's easier to just use the spot. I know, whatever. It's new, it's different. But we have gotten a lot of complaints about that. So,
It's
I
also
mean,
very low. From using it, I find you have to kind of get down almost on your hands and knees. So there's an age thing there that makes it not as
I know
friendly.
We were hoping that we could get all that stuff up
Yeah.
higher, like one shelf, but you know, space-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So if we turn things sideways, that might actually take up less space, and we might be able to skip the bottom shelf. I don't know. You know, so we're still figuring out all that stuff. And believe me, people tell us what they don't like.
Yeah.
You know, but mostly we hear really, really good things. People are super happy with how the building itself turned out. You know, all I hear is like, it's so great the way you're able to save the whole Carnegie, and it's so great the way these 2 buildings come together. You know, that's, I think, what people really, really enjoy the most. So that we really like leverage that historic building really, really nicely. And we can thank the architects for that. That was, you know,
Did a fantastic job.
yeah, they really did a great job. So we have lots of stuff to do. Yep.
And it might seem nitpicky, but when I was there the other day, the no smoking signs? What's that about? Is that for people smoking in the playground area?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And on the walkway?
Oh,
It
yeah.
just seems like, is there going to be something like a more dedicated sign
Yeah,
that will
we-
interface with the look instead
There's
of
like,
this?
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to still finish up our signage package. It's not complete. There's a bunch of little things that aren't complete like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why. It's
But
like,
it's because people stood there and smoked. That's why those went up.
okay. Okay. Is that too close to the door? Is
Yeah.
that- okay.
Well, you have to walk through it to get to the door. I mean, I hate that, you know.
Okay.
I think
I think it
actually
15 feet. I think it
I-
did 15 feet or something.
it's, yeah, but you know what? I think they actually passed in a kind of humorous way, because it wasn't a unanimous vote, I can tell you that. But I think they just passed no smoking in parks. And so I think we'll actually be
The
able,
city-
and
city
the
commission?
city did. So, yeah, I wasn't putting 2 and 2 together at that moment in time when that passed. But I think that what that means is we're going to be able to push people out to the sidewalk to smoke.
That'll be good.
It'll be great, except enforcing it is horrible. All that outdoor stuff, enforcing it is just the pits. You know? people do get very offended when you try to tell them what they can't
It's
do.
about time for me to do a trash pickup around there, and I'll figure out where all the butts are and where they're actually smoking, which I'm think it's on that north horseshoe thing there in the.
Yeah, and then
And
over
seven.
by the playground, because
Yeah.
they're like watching their kids at the playground, which is
Puffing away.
awesome that they're there at the playground with their kids.
Not so awesome if they're
But
smoking.
like, you know, it kind of negates the healthy outdoor thing when you're standing there puffing away on a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, I'll have to remember to check in with our new community services director on that and how they're going to sign for it, because maybe then I could just get rid of all that and
Yeah.
they could got one that they could put up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So after all the issues with the playground, I mean, are you getting comments around use of the playground?
Children look like they really enjoy it.
Okay, good.
I saw some really
When
good-
I've been there, I've only seen adults or older kids using things.
Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
seen.
saw
I have
some
not
really
seen any young
large
kids.
teenagers doing gymnastics off the thing. I thought, well, okay.
Really?
Well, it's that soft surface.
I know, it's great.
They
isn't
launch
it?
themselves and land on that and take a ha ha ha, and they're taking photos. And
Oh, goodness.
so
Okay.
get ready for a face plant and an
On the
ambulance call.
concrete.
Yeah.
Parks problem.
NMP.
No, obviously, I mean, we obviously call an ambulance, but, yeah, I don't, you know, it's, the parks issues are, they're difficult to enforce. People are outside, they're running around,
Mhm.
they're on bikes, they scoot through before you can like say, hey, no bikes, you know? So, anyway.
Mhm.
But
I've been
I
there a
would
couple
say-
times. It's been
Hmm?
exciting to see all the little upstairs tables used by young people who are doing homework and doing stuff, and it's been
Yeah, we get a pretty
well-
good crowd after school. We
Mhm.
almost always get kids from St. John's coming over, which is really nice.
Mm.
But we have people regularly doing their homework, but like a lot of people are in there like working all day,
Mm.
you know, using that laptop bar, using the tables. You know, there's lots of little nooks and crannies that you can go kind of hide away.
Mhm.
And, you know, now with the Carnegie, there's certain people that like it over there, certain patrons, you know, that hang out over there. And it's just really fun to see everybody find their little spot that they like to hang out in. And
Have you had requests for coffee?
nope.
Good.
I'm not.
What a mess.
I mean,
Try to run a coffee bar too, man. It's,
probably could,
yeah.
but it'd be a lot of it. That's, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like right across
Like,
the street,
What
man.
are we, Multnomah? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
You put it out by the smokers and you'd make a lot of money.
I'm sure we would. Yeah. There you go. Fundraiser for the friends. Yeah. So I would say that our library is a success.
Mhm. I would say.
People are really happy with it. Yay, library board. Thank you.
And nice opening events. I think those were well
Oh, thanks.
appreciated.
Yeah,
so
they were
nice
very
job.
nice.
Nice
The,
job.
the foundation party, I thought the foundation party and the grand opening were great fun.
Mhm.
Both of them, I thought were very successful. It is a great spot for a party.
Mhm.
A really nice building for a party.
Mhm. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we should think doing something annually.
I think we should too. I mean, I think we need to show off that building. Yeah, I think the foundation should.
Library birthday party.
Yeah, something.
I'll bring that up when at our next meeting.
Yeah, at the end of November. Yeah, that'd be great.
The millionth book checked out or something like that.
Yeah.
You mean in the new building?
Whatever. It's a
I
number.
mean, what I heard is people just like the idea, like they got to walk around the library with
I know
a
with
walk
like
glass and
alcohol
talk,
or whatever.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, to do things in the library you're not supposed to do. So it felt
I know.
very fun.
Yeah. Drinking and eating in the library is really fun.
Yeah.
Well, it is. I know. Whatever. Well, not to us, but you know. Yeah. Well, if you want to drink and eat in the library, you will have an opportunity, if you like, to attend Good Morning Oregon City next Wednesday morning, starting at 7:30.
Mhm.
We will be co-hosting the City of Oregon City, and the foundation will be co-hosting. So we will probably put all the food in the community room and let them spread out kind of through the first floor and trying to keep them to not go upstairs with their food. But not that it makes any difference, but it's kind of like, you know, we'll be opening after they leave, so I kind of want to keep the mess contained if possible. So they'll be there. They'll be there, and then the Friends Luncheon, which Jan also did not mention. I have to do all your reporting for you.
I was going to comment again.
Oh, okay.
But that's all right.
Yeah, that's the 1st of December, right, Jan?
Yes.
The 1st of December at 11:30 at the Ainsworth House. Yep.
At the Ainsworth.
Yeah.
And everybody's invited. It's a fun time.
It is fun. Yeah, if you're able to come. And I have, of course, get pulled into talking again one more time. People are going to be really tired of hearing from me. Seriously. Oh, and I did do that Clackamas City's dinner thing. That went off pretty well. So they have one of those monthly, and Oregon City took a turn. And monthly? That sounds about right. And like mayors and council people and stuff like that, county commissioners come from all over. And so we had the dinner at the Pioneer Center, and then Charlie Ballman, our project manager, and I put together a slideshow of like what, kind of the whole process, and then like what I learned as a newbie kind of along the way. Like push back on the architect, that kind of thing. So that went well. Too many speaking engagements. All right, so that's any more questions? That's my report.
Very nice. Thanks.
Nice, thank you.
All right. So moving on, we have policy revision to go over.
Yeah, so the community room, not the community room, the conference room policies, just to take out the community room from that because that's kind of like a special place. The 2 conference rooms upstairs are under one policy, and it became really obvious to us as soon as we opened up the new library that we needed to rethink one part, and that was that you could only make reservations out 28 days in advance. So like any group that met monthly, it would be impossible for them to like have confidence, report with confidence to their group that they were going to be able to meet like, the next 5 months in the same place. So we were like, I'm not ready to give them like a whole year at a time, but if it's just once a month, let's start with 6 months so that they can like, with confidence, start those meetings. And then every month as they come, they can tack on another month to keep them out 6 months in advance. So that way they should never have to worry about if they're going to get the room or not, unless something just really unusual comes up, and we could probably work with them if that was the case, or stick them in the community room for that hour or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the suggestion that I was making, and then I just cleaned up the language a little bit on one of the statements, and it was the glitter one, and it was way too long, and it made it sound like we were being really judgmental about like, I can't even remember what it said. Is not authorized, blah, blah, blah. It sounded real condescending. And it's just like, let's clean it up. You cannot use it here. So that was the only reason that got changed.
Do you need to vote on that?
Yep.
So we got 2 changes to our policies.
So I think now we're voting to accept this as the policy, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll make a motion that we accept this as the new Oregon City Public Library small conference room and everything room use policy.
All right. We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Crickets. Motion carries.
Great, thanks. Yeah, and this will probably happen with some regularity until we get like all the little kinks worked out.
Did you post this somewhere?
We are making it available in a pamphlet, in a little flyer, trifold flyer to hand out to people so that they can we can just say, here you go. Here's everything you need to know about blah, da, 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 da.
Right.
So Gina, our fantastic adult services librarian who used to be a graphic artist, has come up with a format for several things so they look alike. They use the colors from the building.
Wow.
She is really obsessive about it. It's fantastic to have somebody like that on staff who gets OCD about all the details and things like that. You go, Gina, and they look great. And so, yeah, so you can because this is the kind of thing you get questions about all the time.
Right.
And we have a calendar. We have a Google calendar set up that somebody at the reference desk looks at in theory every morning to kind of understand what our meeting room schedule is for the day. And we're trying to come up with our own little standards in-house of like what information we get. So if there's a problem, we can call somebody and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's all those little tiny pieces that we're getting in place. So there's that.
Nice. All right. So that being completed, I guess we get to move on to library board candidate interviews.
Yes, and Dan will not be returning. We're gonna miss you. I know, but I think you were here at like a rockin' time to be here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
You know?
without question.
Yeah.
Without question. I've enjoyed the last 4 years amazingly. I've met some great people on this board. But like I told you, there's some things coming up in my life that I need to focus on those things first. And it's not like I'm going to disappear entirely. I'm probably just going to take a year, maybe 2 off. And I'm looking at maybe doing some volunteer work for the library. So
Great. We accept volunteers. We sure do.
yeah.
Awesome. Great. Well, so because of that, and we obviously open it up for candidates anyway. And we've received 1 application. But I was kind of hoping for a little bit more than that, you know, since we're like at this juncture in our.
Applications online.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in this particular case, we're looking for an in-city
In-city.
person.
Looks like
Yep.
it's in city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So I asked Katie to keep it open until mid-November so that we at least have, and I need to put it out on Facebook again too. I keep forgetting to do that.
Put on Chit Chat too.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Chit Chat is very active.
Oh, yeah. Those people are.
It is. It's kind of scary active.
Well, I mean, shoot, they had a post this afternoon about. Did anybody see that? Anybody else see the meteor that went by?
What? Meteor, really?
Yeah. Apparently so.
Wow.
Second coming.
I don't know.
Well, hell's already frozen over once this year, maybe twice.
Yesterday.
Cubbies.
Well,
Yeah,
sorry,
right?
I forgot about that one. Yeah, okay.
Go Cubs, go.
Go Cubs, go Meteor, go everything else.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, so that means that in December, we'll probably interview at least 1 candidate. And I can let that person know, at least since we have 1 person, that hopefully they can be available in December. And I thought, well, if that's the case, it would be really good for us to take another look at our questions. And Mr. Wright.
Did that.
Yep.
One other point, if you have one of these rosters, I don't have the 8141 home number anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
I was getting nothing but marketing calls on that one, so I took it out.
Okay. Thanks for the update.
Right.
But anyhow, here we are.
And I suppose that we probably should take out the new library edition is scheduled to open in 2016.
Yeah,
Well,
right?
Probably should take that out.
At least it
Read number
happened.
3 on my revised list.
Yeah, I like the revised list better.
I gave you one. I gave you one.
Where is that?
I gave you one.
There it is.
Get a
Aha!
copy? There you go. Does everybody have a
New
copy
library
of
edition
this
is now
one?
open.
Of
What
Dawn's
policy?
list of questions? Okay.
Very good. Very good.
Dawn, do you have any more copies?
I have one more someplace.
There's one
Down
probably
here.
down here.
Yeah.
Oh, for Laura? Yeah, and then Jan can look at it. She might have some ideas.
Way to go, DA. Number 7.
Oh, you got one, didn't you?
I did.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm blaming DA for that one.
Nope.
No, Don did. Don
This all
came
mine.
up
It's
with
all
it.
my work.
This is all Don's
He may
work.
have planted the bug, but
All
Yeah,
gone all
I think
the
it's a good
time.
idea.
It is. It is. Well, the old Pizza Hut building's still available.
Isn't it? I was
We
thinking.
Give it a rest for a couple of months.
I've only got one more meeting to go.
All right. Yeah,
Oh,
but if
stir
you're
it
going to
up
be a
good then.
volunteer, you'll see me all the
I know.
time, right?
I know.
But
That's
I have
good.
a question about number 3. I mean, I think it is good to say that the new library edition is now open, or the new library is now open. I don't know whether we want to focus on policies and guidelines or be a little broader about, we've kind of accomplished this, the new library's open, what do you see as the next direction?
Challenge?
I mean,
Direction?
we sort of give a direction in number 7, but if you wanted to be a little bit more open-ended, what would be the next challenge, or what do you see as,
As opposed to suggesting branch facilities and places that people could,
or as
Pretty
opposed to just
specific.
saying what policies and guidelines should we be considering? Because I don't know if it's a policy guideline issue, or maybe those two should be combined.
That's a good idea.
I just wasn't sure about focusing only on policies and guidelines, but it's like, we've accomplished this. The new library is open, so like, where do we go next strategically?
Yeah,
What's our next
what
direction?
What would you see as our next direction?
Direction to better serve the residents.
I think that's a great question right there.
And then take 7 out.
No, I think
I think you can
7
still
is
see 7. It's,
is there because it shows that we've at least got an idea of what direction we'd like to go, but what direction would they like to go?
It would be very interesting to hear people's response on that.
So it's what direction, something, what? How's that worded?
New library edition is now open.
Yeah.
What do you think our next challenge could or should be?
Or
or
opportunity.
what directions do we
opportunity.
need to go, or what opportunities to better serve our service area. Or it's not just Oregon City residents.
Right, their service area.
Service
yeah.
area. Because I think that opens it up to allow,
I agree with
you
that,
could either be
yeah.
talking about geographically, you could talk about age, you could talk race, ethnicity, language. I mean, I think it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
that,
Which is
that
what they
opens
kind
up
of
to a lot
see,
of things, yeah.
what they
Right.
see as the population
Right.
and where.
Well, and if you focus
gaps
on
are.
the service to the population like we're supposed to be doing, that kind of puts that focus where it needs to be as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. In that question. I like number 4.
Is the role of the library within the community?
Well, we live in interesting times, and
I've
as
heard
we
that a
all
lot
know,
this week.
The library can play a really important role as far as difficult conversations, all that kind of thing. And I mean, it would be interesting to, think about that strategically as well. The Friends and I were talking about that today because we were talking about their support for certain programming and what they would like to do. So we were talking about programming that would help with discussions around diversity and race. So, I mean,
I wish
like what role does the library play with those kind of topics?
I wish I had that Neil Gaiman book sitting right here. That's
Which one?
View from the Cheap Seats.
Oh,
It's the newest one he's not got. Second article in the book. It's a book of speeches and articles that he wrote for various magazines and newspapers and speeches that he gave. But the second article in talks about why libraries are important
Yeah.
from his perspective. And one of the things he pointed out was that libraries even the playing field. That it doesn't matter what economic background you're from, what race you're from, what sex you are, what gender you are, what gender identity you are. The library is there for information on everything, and it even is a playing ground whether you're a high school dropout or a PhD. The information is there and available. It doesn't matter what you're looking for. So,
well, and in addition to that, we try to be a place where everybody is accepted no
Mhm.
matter who they are.
Right.
So, and all opinions are accepted no matter what they are.
Right.
So there's not that many places around that are like that when you think about it,
The Unitarian Church says it's that.
Well, and it probably does a pretty good job
Yeah.
of it for those people who attend.
Well, it's
yeah.
right next door to us, so
Yeah.
there you go.
Makes for good neighbors.
They're very nice people.
Yeah.
They let us put the camera up on top of their belfry.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which made for an awesome video.
It does make for an awesome video, doesn't it? I was limited to the choice of the music, by the way. I had to choose from
What did you choose? I
Yeah,
forget.
it's like some dorky kind of thing. The reason I selected it is after listening to all the other choices, I thought I could listen to that over and over the most because I knew it was going to be playing on a loop at grand opening.
Yeah, I think it was the theme from Frogger.
See, well, okay, that's good.
I'll tell you what, it's better than the on-hold music we have
a
with
little
tech support.
Exactly.
I have this little computer game that I play, and you can turn the music off, but then the sound effects stay on there. So if you zoom in on it, there's all these little people running around on the island, and you can hear their footprints. And I always thought that would be a good one, like. No.
Mhm.
Oh, let's throw it out.
All right, so
Onward.
we do not have candidates here tonight. We should move forward to communications, which would bring back our friend from the Friends.
Okay.
Oh,
Friend from the Friends.
well, actually, she already mentioned.
Did I already do it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Again, you're all invited.
Thank you. Anything else?
You want to talk about the foundation at all?
I missed last meeting
too.
also, so I don't really have much to report from the foundation.
From the board to the foundation, thank you so very
Yeah.
much.
Well, I'll pass that along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, nice job.
And from the board to you specifically, you too, thanks for keeping us on track and keeping us updated as to how that process went. You guys have been great.
It's amazing, really.
Yeah.
I know. Still pinching myself.
Yeah. On time, on budget, amazing.
It worked.
And it looks good.
And it looks fantastic. It's
Yeah,
great.
in spite of the architects, it came out looking pretty good.
Says the engineer. Yeah.
Just as a general comment, and I realize this is just a throwaway thing, but I was exploring, going through and seeing what all is in there. Because I mean, as we get it more populated, it's going to expand and whatnot. I noticed you got 3 separate sections for graphic novels in there. One for kids, one for teens, one for adults. It's like,
Yeah.
and it helps solve some of that problem that we had a couple of years ago
Yep.
with the wrong stuff getting
Yep.
into young hands. That's good.
And our librarians are so excited about that.
Yeah.
Gina is like, adult graphic novel. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my coworker. She's like, I'm into comic books now, and so I want to get my hands on everything. It's like, well, here's what you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for noticing that.
Yeah, I mean, and then that you got the local artists, and just I haven't done the whole thing, Deep Explore yet, but it's just you got a great layout. It's
Thanks.
awesome.
We love having the space for all those separate
And
collections.
the great not authors,
Classic.
the classic classes or
Yeah.
whatever the
Those big ones.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
that whole
then-
section, I didn't even know we had those.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, those are wonderful. Then we
Yeah.
have book bundles over there.
Mhm.
So, like, if you have a book group that, we've got, 8 to 10 in each of those?
10.
10, yeah. Several books over there.
Yeah,
Ooh, I gotta look into that.
yeah.
I have a question. Have you, in all of this moving, have you now got all your books out of storage?
We have all the books out of storage that we're going to bring back to the library, yes. We still have some storage cleanup to do, but it's minimal compared to what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, so.
Yeah,
you're
everything's
stocked
pretty
up.
much
The whole
there.
The whole
Yeah.
collection is out.
Yeah, the whole collection's out. So we need, obviously,
can
we have
build.
lots of holes. Hmm?
So now you can build.
Now we
Fancy.
can build, because we have the space to build now.
So, do you have anybody designated checking on how complete book series are within not just our library but the system in general?
I don't know if Gina is drilling down on series specifically.
'Cause
Yeah.
the only reason why I ask is I've been doing audiobooks for a while now, and got on a Jeffrey Deaver kick.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got this one series that's about 7, 8, 9 books long, 10, 14, and we're missing a chunk.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not sure if that's just a matter of cost prohibitive or unavailability or whatnot.
Or space. Audiobooks
Or
take up
space.
a ton of space.
Right.
And those things, the problem with them is that, they don't keep publishing them.
Mm.
So if it's 5 years ago or something, chances are you can't get it.
Yeah, but you'd think that the first book in the series you'd be able to find in the local system.
Series have their
Probably.
own challenges.
Yeah, I mean,
and probably in the system somebody would have.
Yeah, I ended up getting a book on tape, literally tape, from Utica, New York.
Oh my gosh. That's
I-
pretty bad.
Yeah, and to bring it along.
Remind us what it looks like.
Yeah.
Wow.
You have to play that in your car then?
I don't have a tape player in the car anymore. I had to dig out my Walkman.
That would be interesting to look up, because if it had to come from that far away, it just may not be in publication anymore.
I find that interesting, but
Yeah.
again, it's just one of those things that I've seen that a couple of times where you get into a series and you
Oh, yeah.
you get into the storyteller of it as well, and it's like, no, wait a second, where's this part?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to follow a series completely.
Mhm.
But like the publishing industry are really not friends of libraries these days, and how little they like keep things, how short a period of time they keep publishing things.
Mhm.
It doesn't really work for how we operate because we have people going back many, many years like that. You know,
Mhm.
that's what we do. And of course, they need to be replaced occasionally because if they're good, they get worn, right?
Right.
And it
I
can be
ran into
very
the same
difficult
problem
to
when I was working for a
replace.
video store.
Yep, yep. So,
Yeah, that was one of my functions at that store. Is I'd go through and go, okay, I know this is a series. How come we're missing 3, 7, and 5? You know.
well, maybe that's the volunteer position you'd like to do.
There you go. Give me something to do anyway. Like there's nothing
I'm sure we
else.
could find something to do, yeah. Yeah, for sure. We
We
do
have-
have several volunteers who help shelve, which is really, really helpful. Yeah, they're brand new. Well, not brand new, but they're
Did the
newer.
library district associations, that's the group you're on, right?
That's me.
Has it met in the last?
It did. There's not much to report there. It's pretty much been the same meeting for how many weeks? How many months?
Too many.
Too many. The issue of Oak Grove, Gladstone, that area just hangs over the board like a pall, you know, and maybe they'll move forward, but it doesn't sound like it because several of the people have very fervent views on what should be done, and that's probably not the way that I'm guessing on this. That the county board, which is the ultimate district library board, is that right? Yeah, some word like that. But they make the decisions. We're advisory like this, and there's been no motions put forward that anybody can vote on because that would require cooperation between two groups that are pretty much at loggerheads with each other. So I don't know. I fill my chair and I wait for something.
The other issue that there's a bunch of issues, but I find it all really interesting. Some people seem convinced that the library directors are not doing a good fiscal job.
Oh, that, yeah.
And they, like, we provide a report annually to the network of because where did the district money go, right? They need to know. Well, some cities, I mean, every single city is different on how they either do or do not help the library out with additional funds beyond district funds, and or if they have administrative charges that they require the library to pay. Typically, if they require the library to pay it, they also require other departments to pay it. But other departments are paid out of general fund quite often, right? So it's not these dedicated funds. So it feels a little different when you get charged rent from your own city, even when they charge it to other departments. Well, we don't do that here, which is awesome. But because my rent would have just gone up like big time. And it did, but we don't call it rent, we call it maintenance.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of people who want us to report like the finite details to that board, to this advisory committee, when like all the budget information is like, of course, public information with the cities, and all the cities are audited, you know? And what they're really, the beef is that the control is decentralized out to the cities, because it was in the IGA decided that the cities were going to get to like decide how to spend the money within certain parameters, you know. And so, like, even though all the money was supposed to go to the library, if you can like say, I'm sending this money to the city, but it was for my light and my heat at the library, you know, more or less within even a formula, well, then that's okay, because the city gets to decide. So it's been, the library directors have been very, very aware of how hard it would be to like say a city is not doing its job with its library, because we've been in this position. But now we have like way more, in fact, all of our board is like these, you know, non-librarian people, although now I do get to sit next to Dawn now.
Wow.
I know,
It
right?
was wonderful. We
Oh.
could pass notes. It was
God,
great.
yeah. But, you know, they're just coming to the realization that because of the way that this is set up, the advisory committee is truly advisory, and they don't get to, like, you know, if they say they want to look at it, we'll say, go to the city and look at what the city is publishing. That's like what you get to know. You know, it's all there. It's all public. We're not going to do something special just for like you because you have this desire because you don't trust your library director.
Well, the thing
you know?
that gets me is that it isn't a specific request. It's a general, broad brush request for all of the numbers drilling down to nuts and bolts level that we can look at now and try to find something in. You know, that's the way I feel about that. And it's like a witch hunt, or it's a bad word, but I mean,
it feels very suspicious
Very-
and
yeah.
invasive. You know,
there's
like
three
they're looking
there's three
for
people
something.
at that meeting that keep on that all the time and hold up the paper and preach to the choir, and you know, I wait for a motion. That's all I can do.
It's pretty much Dawn and my like least favorite meeting that we ever have had to attend in
It's
our
enjoyable
life.
since you can sit next to
Yeah,
me. I think.
yeah, that's the only thing that makes it. Yeah.
I'll bring treats next time.
Okay, that's a great idea. But we do have a really good chair, finally.
Yes.
And so she does really keep us on the agenda. And that's Pam North, who is a library board member from Westland Library, and she's a retired library director from Sherwood. So she's top notch, and thank God she understands the whole big picture. So,
And on we go.
Thank you, Don.
No, no problem.
oh, that's right. You were gonna do you want to give that up, maybe starting in January, and have somebody else do it? We can decide later.
I don't think so. Doing so well.
I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
Okay, think about that.
Look
Yeah,
at me all you
well, next
want.
year.
I know that you're not here.
Let's keep consistency.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
As my father-in-law's want to say.
I knew nothing before I came in, and I know less now. So you know, yeah, I'm
Don't switch
consistent.
courses in midstream.
It's confusing. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There is a nice school building out there that's abandoned. That's just in the right spot,
where's that?
up on Vineland Road. Isn't it Vineland Road? The old, is it Lake Grove School?
Oh, in that area up
Yeah,
there.
right
I don't
up,
know.
right up behind the shopping centers.
I don't know.
Just thinking.
You have too much time to think.
We need people like that.
I don't know. I'm not sure which school district actually owns it, but it is an abandoned school, and it is in a very
Well-
central
And
location.
it's in our service area,
Yeah.
and it's in a central location.
Yeah,
Well, they
it's
all
about
were
halfway.
closed. I've sent some books up for pickup at the Oak Grove place. You know, wow, there's like 2 parking spots.
I know, it's
and
bad.
and then it's something in the way back in the back 40 back there, and you walk back in. That's a nice enough place, and the staff's working hard, but
They are
oof. And then now the Goodwill is building up to the south. of it.
blocking all their sun.
Yep, and I'm sure that the parking spots are gonna go whoopee, it's like that, so it's a real problem up there. Well-
It is. Well, DA, before we build an abandoned school building, we need to figure out how we would fund the staff for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's really the serious issue, and I'm
That would
not
be-
sure. I think, isn't it true that, well, I mean, it isn't our business, but isn't it true that Gladstone's a city, but Lake Grove is not?
Yeah, Oak Grove is
Or
not a
Oak
city.
Grove, yeah,
Right,
it's
it's
not.
not a city.
So, who knows what's out there
Yeah,
to sort that part out?
yeah. Yes. All right, other?
So they don't have any ability to really hold funds. I mean, they're not an entity that can.
Well,
Right.
and
Only
then-
through the county.
Yeah, and then Gladstone went ahead and said, well, we're going to build the library and our city hall on top, or the police department on top or something, and you all come down. Well, that didn't really sit very well with them either. And that's when the mediator came in for the county, and they said they could go to the mediation thing.
I don't know what
I don't think they
happened.
ever went to any of those meetings, so,
No, I think they, yeah,
yeah.
turned down that.
So there's that's the report.
Bad news.
Anybody
Okay,
wants to
thank you.
jump in, have some fun, just go ahead, let me know. I could take a cruise or something.
Okay,
All right.
you're done?
I think we're done. So our next meeting should be December 10th. December 14th, Wednesday, 5 p.m. And
Right, you are.
all right, we'll adjourn our meeting tonight at 6:55.
Oh, 5:55. They haven't changed the clock yet.
That's right, 5:55.